Welcome to Netwatch Cullen Park in Carlow for the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. It's DCU Docus, the defending champions, up against UL, who have never won this competition. Colin Begley joins me for tonight's game. Colin, twice a winner with DCU. Colin, what are you expecting from tonight's game?
I'm expecting a close game tonight. Two teams have had some tough games in the last two rounds. Some quality players and experience on both sides. Some fast pace in the forwards too, but very defensive as need to be at some stages. So I expect a very good game. Conditions are really good. Excited to see how the lads control the star players, but overall it should be a great game.
The pitch is in great condition, very solid underfoot. That counts for a lot, doesn't it?
It does. In Sigerson time of year, January, sometimes you can get awful conditions, but tonight the weather's well. The pitch looks really good. It's wide enough too as well, and a bit of wind going from the town end, but overall conditions are fantastic. So it gives lads a chance to play a bit of football.
It's so tempting to talk about David Clifford and only David Clifford, but the fact is when he's in a team, he's the one that we as watchers of the game concentrate on, and I imagine the opposition concentrate on him as well.
Look, he's a star player, one of those players who ignites games and has such talent. So you couldn't look away from him being one of the most influential players tonight on the pitch. How DC will handle him, I'm not sure. We've got excellent defenders there themselves. They'll obviously play probably a defensive system and somewhat over our team, but he's got some serious magical skill in him, and he's playing really good football at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how it actually works out. Wind is pushing down a small bit, so we'll see how they handle him on both sides.
UL have been score hungry this year so far, haven't they?
They've scored an awful amount of scores, goals, and goals wins games. DCU have had some really close matches, obviously a point between the last two rounds, which is good to have and good to get over those. But UL have been scoring goals really easily against good opposition as well. So I think DCU's goal will be to try and narrow them down to no goals or one goal if they can. I think it's going to be the goal win the game in this one. I think it's going to be a very close game.
This is where I would normally ask for a prediction, but in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup, it's so hard to know what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. And again, these guys have such talented players from both sides. You've seen how close the games have been for DCU especially, but also for UL and other games. You just can't tell. And on any given night, if 3 or 4 players really perform and light it up, it'll be an amazing game and hard to predict.
Well, you have been a player that lit up this competition. Colin, for now, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick run through the teams. Well, there's a late change for DCU with Byrne coming in and replacing Liam Coleman. The Wexford man is injured. Red Oak Murphy very industrious in the middle of the park. Behind him, playing at centre-back, is Jordan Morrissey. He's on home turf. The Aero Oak man was part of the last DCU team to win the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup. One change in the forward line as well. Mark Barry from nearby in County Laois is in the corner. Got a goal last time out. Beside him, Robert Finnerty didn't start in the last game, but came off the bench and scored 4 points. He's deadly accurate, and he's the kind of forward who wants ball and can turn defenders. A couple of standout names in the UL team. Sean Powter was Young Player of the Year nominee a couple of years ago. Since that, his career has been beset by injuries, but he's getting a good run of it now. Speaking of injuries, Owen McLaughlin from Mayo was stretchered off for his county the other day in the league, but he has been named to start here. It will be interesting to see if he does. David Clifford is the standout name from the forward line. He has been banging in the goals, but Donal Sullivan, his fellow Kerry man, is also very decent and will take the frees for UL. McMahon from Clare can also cut through defences. He's building a good reputation at inter-county level. He's doing it at college level as well.
Number 8 in the centre of the field is Conor Dempsey, and number 9, Daniel Walsh. Right half forward, Kieran Down. In the centre, Emmett McMahon, and on the left, Oisin Loney. Right full forward, David Clifford. In the centre, Dan Gray, and on the left, Donal O'Sullivan. And tonight's referee is Maurice Keegan from Laois. And I would like to remind people that the stand is a no smoking area. Smoking is not allowed in the stand.
There's David Clifford ready to rock. He has been pulling it up so far in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup. 1-4 against IT Sligo, 2-7 against Letterkenny, 2-4 against Queens. And we're likely to get more from him tonight, Colin.
Yeah, I'd say so. He's in great form at the moment. He's a scoring threat throughout, but also what he's great at doing is, even though he's a scoring threat throughout, he brings players into games too. So if he's being double teamed, it's an opportunity for other players to get involved. Like you've mentioned as well before, Kerryman beside him is doing really well. So looking forward to seeing him play.
Maurice Deegan is our referee from County Laois this evening. An inter-county ref, an experienced ref, and the kind of ref that you would want for this kind of occasion. A ref I'm sure you know very well from the Laois Club Championship.
Too well. We never get him in Laois Club, but
DCU, Douglas Heron, what a dominant force they have been in the last couple of years. There's Robert Finnerty, looks fit, looks like he's flying. The kind of guy you just want to get the ball to, the kind of forward who just wants the ball. A bit like his manager at county level, Pádraig Joyce. Cold, crisp night. They're doing the final warm-ups. Joseph Hagan from Dromarden, County Longford in there as well, along with this man, Pádraig Hughes from Wexford. He's from the same club as Matty Ford and Colin. That does influence players. When they have an icon from the club, they look at that player and they say, well, I want to be like that guy or girl or whoever. But in his case, it was Matty, and he actually, you can see it sometimes when he shapes the shoot. There is a similarity.
The movement of them, you can see it. And definitely, if you have a player like that, an icon who's kind of dictating how you want to play the style of your football, it definitely pushes on players. And you can see the way he moves even there. Like Matty Ford was a talented, very big player, but talented player nonetheless. And he's got a little bit of skill in him too. So
2 minutes to the national anthem. 2 minutes to the national anthem.
Well, the teams have 2 minutes to get their warm-ups done. Then we're into the national anthem. We have had it confirmed, by the way, that Owen McLaughlin is out. He was named at number 7. Now, sometimes, in fairness to the colleges, they give squad lists rather than team lists. He was in at number 7, but it has been confirmed that he's out. And, well, we didn't need to be told that, Colin, because as we were standing down by the pitch, we saw him walk by in a moon boot.
yeah, in the moon boot, which hopefully is not too bad. A fantastic player. So a big loss for them, I think, overall. But look, they've got some quality players to come in as well. But fingers crossed it's not too much long injury.
And you can just see on the tips of the arms of the UL jerseys, there is the Pride logo. Fair play to them.
Yeah, nice touch. Really nice touch.
UL Wolves, as they're officially known as. I got a call from one of their former players today saying, go on the Wolves.
Go on the Wolves.
Go on the Wolves, they said.
That's
yeah.
the next thing now, every college will have an animal after them, something along the lines of that.
It's Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
They're really getting into the spirit of it. Paul Walsh, you could see him there with that fine head of hair, number 18. He's the guy who went over and met Ronaldinho in Brazil. Ronaldinho, sorry.
What a trip.
Went there not knowing if he'd meet him or not, but he did. Number 18, big head of hair. A serious footballer, a former Electric Ireland minor player of the season, a former Kerry minor captain. And he is a player who, I guess because we concentrate so much on David Clifford, he is a player that if Clifford wasn't there, we'd be talking an awful lot more about.
Exactly.
1 minute to the national anthem.
UL have never won this competition. They've had some fine players in the past. What would it mean to them to do it this season? Well, I don't know. Could you put it into words? Of course, they are going for a double. Still in the Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup. They'll face IT Carlow next Thursday. Not sure where the venue is for that. In the other semi-final, it's GMIT against NUIG. DCU in the huddle. I wonder, Colin, how much information is taken on board in these huddles, or is it just all about kind of the emotional build-up?
I think at this stage it's really about just getting guys tuned in and getting them leveled, maybe relaxing a small bit, taking nerves down. But at this stage, getting the key messages out, getting players fired up. That first 5 minutes is going to be very ferocious, high intensity, so making sure we're ready for that.
Decent enough crowd in for this game. That makes a difference on the pitch, doesn't it?
It does, and often these games aren't paid massive in front of massive crowds, so a bit of a crowd adds some atmosphere, especially given the year it's been and COVID and so on and so forth. So a bit of atmosphere, a bit of energy, well deserved.
We will now have the anthem, and then it is the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final, DCU against UL. We saw it in the McKenna Cup, and the reason I bring that up is because I was at some of the games. If you put a good GA game on in the middle of the week, people will go. It doesn't matter what's on the TV. You can't resist the urge of seeing top players on a pitch that's on your doorstep. That's the case tonight. A lot of Carlow people turning out for this game, as in a neutral crowd. Maurice Deegan giving the fist pumps. And we're about to get underway in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. The calm before the storm. Oisin Looney of Clare standing in the middle beside Conal Dempsey from Knockmore in County Mayo. A county championship winner this season. Red Oak Murphy in the middle of the park. Up there with him is Matthew Costello, named at wing back, but will play in midfield. Costello from County Meath, DCU, giving away a free straight away. It's a big booming ball inside. No surprise who they've looked for here. It's David Clifford. What a save that is by David O'Hanlon. He'd be disappointed not to have stuck that. I know it's early in the game, but maybe he should have done better, Colin.
It's a great save. Long ball in straight away from the front and puts under pressure, but the goalie came out really well, spread himself. But if that had went in, you know, it's a really hard one for DCU to take and come back from. So excellent goal stop.
He peeled off Shay Ryan. You always feel bad for the fullback when that happens because there's not really much he could do there. But DCU survive the possible concession of a goal. Luke Terry got his hands on the ball there, moved on to Carl Lynch Bissett. Player gone down off the ball. Referee continues with play. Now the free will come. No advantage accrued. Robert Finnegan, the Galway player with strong Mayo connections. His dad made his name as an inter-county player with Mayo, but he actually won a Galway club title with Carraroe in the 90s. And Carraroe dropped onto the left and pinged over by Robert Finnerty. Did you expect any other result?
Slight breeze with DCU as well now, so it's important to take those frees from long range, but excellent score.
Robert Finnerty, he's such an excellent young forward, and he almost stole it back there, but UL get their hands on it. Daniel Walsh from Clare scored that dramatic point during the weekend against Cork in the Allianz League. Conor Flaherty, a dual player. Sean Powder moved it on. I beg your pardon, that was O'Donovan. Now it's Conal Dempsey. Dempsey making the run, but it's Walsh who receives it. There was a slip rather than a push on the forward, and it'll be collected by Mark Kern. Mark Kern brings it out of defence. Seamus Byrne from Killybegs has played underage for Donegal. DCU playing into the Dublin Road end in the first half. Charging on is Shay Ryan. The Kildare man moves it inside.
Good defence, well done.
Getting in the way of it there was, I think it was Garrod O'Donovan. Here's Shay Ryan. Ryan slotted it into Jordan Morrissey, who knows this ground so well. A multiple county title winner with Aero, got to a Leinster club final a couple of years ago, unlucky to lose that game to Ballypoden St Enda's. UL staying defensively quite sound. And now they've won the free. David Clifford going to ground. It's sticky cornerback play from Daniel Corcoran of Louth. Gave away the free. Slipped it inside. Clifford will try and get there. O'Hanlon gets to it instead. Paul Terry is wearing number 32, by the way. Unusual for a starter to be wearing that number, but that's what they've gone with. Bill Carroll of Offaly. Mark Barry scored a goal against Ulster University. Red Oak Murphy. Like yourself, Colin, spent a bit of time in Australia.
Yeah.
Jordan Morrissey looks to pick out a pass. Mark Barry recycles. Jordan Morrissey again. He moves so well with the ball, Jordan Morrissey. Goes for it from a tight enough angle and doesn't get it. It's easy to say because he kicked it wide, but was that the wrong option?
He's a strong runner, got into a spot with the wind. I think he had to go for that. Excellent runner, Jordan Morrissey, who will add a lot in this game, I think, coming forward. It seems both sides are playing a sweeper. Number 4 from both sides seem to be sitting back and playing a sweeper at the moment. With the wind, I think DCU need to get a few more scores on the board.
Great mark, very well taken by Conal Dempsey. They're going direct, but DCU are ready for it. Shea Ryan was out in front. Bill Carroll. Carroll moves it out. Hagan. Again, it's a shot from a tight angle, and again, it's a wide. Conor Flaherty, the goalkeeper, went viral for moving pretty much the whole length of the pitch in a club game, only to hit the crossbar. Terry making his way down the park. Looney from Clare. Dempsey. Dempsey's brought down, it is a free in.
You can see both teams are being quite defensive, sitting back maybe a wall in the 45, 4 or 5 players, and sweeper sitting back. Obviously kind of being a little bit attentive and trying to stop those scores coming through, but so far UL have handled the defence a lot better. No tackles that have gone in have been fouls, so 4 fouls given away there for DCU.
David Clifford. Doesn't have the legs, so Hanlon, well, it was risky enough doing what he did, but luckily for him, it spilled to yellow rather than white. Terry. The Sligo man, calm in possession. Jordan Morrissey. Red Oak Murphy moved on. Terry receives it back. You have to love the DCU running off the shoulders. Here's Daniel Corcoran trying to get it under control. Corcoran soccers it outside. Picked up eventually by Joseph Hagan. Carroll laid it off. He's like a wrecking ball going through there, Carl Lynch-Bissett. And he's on it again. Red Oak Murphy. Matthew Costello. Costello puts the foot down. Costello beating all comers and drawing the foul. That was really good running by Matthew Costello.
Really strong there for Matthew Costello. Excellent line. Defenders coming in and blocking it up, but still saw a gap and went for
The
it.
owner of car registration number 09D.
It's not me anyway.
0414, parked in Oaklands. Please go to it immediately as you are blocking an entrance and the tow wagon is on its way up.
The tow wagon's on the way up. That's the car equivalent of a black card.
That's 09D 30.
It's not yours, is it?
Hope not.
Good. You hope not. Do you not know your own number
The
plate?
headset will be
Kieran
gone.
Donnelly, by the way, of Bracknell and County Offaly, is being blood subbed here for UL. Finnerty. It's a breezy one out there, but he'd be well used to that playing in Galway City, Salthill, Knocknacarra. It's attached to Salthill, so that's the breeziest ground in the country, so he'd be well used to kicking into breezes. This is a bit of a risky one. It doesn't work out. Red Oak cushions a pass into the corner. It's a good one, but that's a really good tackle. Fantastic tackle by James McCarthy from Kenmare in County Kerry. Same place as Sean O'Shea, who had such great success in this competition with UCC in recent years. That was a good hand in by Seamus Byrne from Killybegs in County Donegal. These two met in what I'll call the provisional second year competition this season. Some of the players on both sides involved that night. DCU up against UL again here, and that's a hook shot which goes off target. Oh no, it's a 45. Let's have a look again. The shot from Donal O'Sullivan. The other Donal O'Sullivan from Kerry. It will be Clifford to strike to 45. That is a sweet strike into the sugar factory end. And UL get a great score through David Clifford. Still called the sugar factory end, but the sugar factory is long gone by now. Oh, that's a big collision in the middle of the pitch between two players from the same team, both going for the ball. Maurice Deegan just stops play.
Very brave from one of the DCU players to go back with the flight, but hopefully it's not too bad of a clash.
Mark Barry is one of them. Two of them just going for it. Pádraig Hughes was the other. It didn't seem to be a head connection, and of course that doesn't mean you, not that I'm an expert, but that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily get concussion, but they'll do all the necessary checks.
Two players seem okay, which is great.
Yep. Maurice Deegan will get us underway again. Emmett McMahon against Matthew Costello. And it's UL who come away with the possession. Conal Dempsey. Really good pass. Dan Gray from just up the road in Castledermot. Jack Coyne has played championship football for Mayo. Leaves it behind him, Oisin Looney, but then regathers the Milltown Malbay man. Downs. Oh, it was a miscue of a pass to Oisin Looney. DCU have it back through Shay Ryan. Now here's Red Oak Murphy.
Good ball.
Well taken by Finnerty. Always looks so confident on the ball, Robert Finnerty. Makes the run inside. He was checked off the ball. Referee plays on. Hagan back to Finnerty. Strong tackle from O'Donovan. And an illegal one as well. Newshastown man bringing him down. The Newshastown man bringing him down.
DCU with a lot of numbers back defensively, so when they try and break out after winning the ball back, they just don't have loads of options up there. It's a great ball from Red Oak Murphy up the wing, but suddenly you're now 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 up there.
I'm not sure if it came across to you at home, but here in the ground we could hear Maurice Deegan saying to Robert Finnerty there was no good in going down like that, referring to the first time he tumbled. He said the second one is a free, and Finnerty has flashed it wide. Wide on the near side, always the worst kind of wide.
Strange for an outside of the boot free kick. Quality player, but seems a bit erratic now to be hitting outside of the boot free from there.
It's another driving run. Looney. I beg your pardon, that's not Looney, that's Terry. Daniel Walsh. Oisin Looney. Dempsey. Dan Gray. UL moving it around well. Declan Bruder, the manager, I'm sure happy with a lot of what he's seen so far. Daniel Walsh wants it back, gets it back. DCU have dropped back in massive numbers. UL still get the shot away through Dan Gray, and Gray pops it over.
09D30414. Please remove it. You haven't gone out to it yet, so You might be too late now anyway, but 09D30414.
Dan Gray escaped the clampers, got his shot away, got his point.
You'd be concerned for DCU having 14 men back there and still someone getting through and getting a score like that. Great movement from UL, but you'd be a little worried about that defensive setup.
David O'Hanlon played for Dublin in the O'Byrne Cup. It's a risky enough one. Matthew Costello goes for it and doesn't get there. And now it's Gray again. Emmett McMahon doesn't catch it right. Chasing after it is Donald O'Sullivan. Just about keeps it in place. Stuck to him, Daniel Corcoran. O'Sullivan. Great score. It was a perfect shoulder to give himself a bit of time and a bit of space and a perfect finish.
Really good, really strong on the ball there just to push off and get himself an extra yard. He's dangerous, he's looking very dangerous at the moment. Good movement inside too.
He's had a tough time through injury. He tore ligaments in his hamstring. Has worked a bit with former Kerry player Fionn Fitzgerald on his running style to see if that can kind of aid the hamstring recovery and avoid injuries. Won an under 20B All-Ireland hurling title with Kerry as well, so a very talented young man. Red Oak Murphy trying to escape the tackle, and he doesn't, but he gets the free, so same result. Kieran Downs of Kilmallow committing the foul. Dropping deep as Porrick Hughes. Looks like he's recovered from his knock a few minutes ago. Here's Shea Ryan. Byrne. He's stripped of the ball, Seamus O'Byrne. Who's going to squirt out too? Sean Powder tries storming out of defence. The Douglas man wins a free. Coyne. Plenty of options for Coyne. Trying to dance through his Downs. That's a really good pass. Emmett McMahon draws it in beautifully. Emmett McMahon hung it up in the breeze and sent it over. No wonder there's an awful lot of excitement in Clare about Emmett McMahon. I can see why. Kicked a point off the bench for Clare at the weekend in their draw against Cork, a game they probably should have won in Porky Queeve.
Should have won. They were lucky after getting the goal, I suppose, against them, and came back to get 2 scores. So it was well done in the end, but they could have won it. Should have been disappointed, but a good draw nonetheless. Good strong winning.
Towie wanted it back, didn't get it back though. Jordan Morrissey played for Carlow under Turlock O'Brien. Turlock is just down to our left at the moment watching the game. When he's not cycling, he's watching football. Bissett Lynch. From what you can see, Colm, UL, they're not leaving big open gaps or anything like that, but they're not overly defensive, are they?
No, what they're doing is they're playing one sweeper. The defenders are probably marking their men pretty well, and then they're actually pressing up a line up and around 45, so their defensive line is much higher. It's a really good system at the moment because they're backing themselves out the field to put pressure on the guys and make them turn over the ball, so DCU is a good score there. But
Bill Carroll with that score, an excellent one. Always good to see a player moving so fast with the ball, but he can't pick out the pass. It was a good interception. It was well read by the defender. Hughes, chased after by McMahon. Presented into the path of Lynch Bissett, who moves it on. Mark Curran. Robert Finnerty. Finnerty pushed out into the corner. Gets it back. Good take, Joseph Hagan. Back towards Mark Curran, and out of play it goes. DCU just really frustrated there and forced into a mistake. Emmett Conor Flaherty. An All-Ireland winning Galway under-20 footballer. A Leinster winning under-20 Galway hurler. You just have to be very jealous of guys who are that talented in a sporting sense.
Super talented.
Yeah. Sean Powder, speaking of talented players.
Very calm on the ball. Really well.
He could be such a key part of Keith Rickett's plans if he stays injury-free, Sean Powder.
Yeah.
You just hope for him that he does. He's so dedicated.
A full Sigerson season would be great for him too to get through that.
Seamus Byrne, Red Oak Murphy, Mark Curran has to put that mistake a couple of seconds ago behind him. Shay Ryan. Matthew Costello. A mix of a footballer and a sprinter, Matthew Costello. Now he's showing off that speed that he's got. Costello. That's a really good ball inside. Mark Barry. Great save. Conor Flaherty showing the talent that we spoke about.
Excellent run through the middle. That's what DCU need just to break down that line of defence from the first 45. So, hold it back, Mark Barry there. It's going to save by the goalie.
O'Hanlon will strike the 45. DCU looking for the equaliser. Wide, a fourth for DCU from a shooting opportunity.
2 dead balls as well, and you have to look at yourself going, realistically, those 2 are options that should have been taken.
Downs. Coyne. Coyne against Finnerty. Mayo against Galway. It's a good ball down the wing. It's a really good catch. Can they complete the move? The answer is very much yes.
Well, an excellent pass from the goalie, Conor Flaherty there, coming up to the 45 nearly getting the ball over the top. But the fast hands from UL is the big change. They're very sharp on the ball, even under pressure, getting quick hands straight to their teammates and very slick scoring. So they seem the sharper side at the moment.
Terry with the point for UL. It's left behind and UL sweep it up. Good play by Dempsey.
Again, a poor hand pass from DCU, hitting the ground before getting into his hands. Gives the defender a chance.
Terry, who scored that last point. Really good work by Costello. Shay Ryan. Moved on by Byrne. Mark Curran. Barry, who's denied that goal chance a couple of minutes ago. Jordan Morrissey. Robert Finnerty. Advantage is coming. Red Oak Murphy, and now the free is given.
A few strong runs there from Matthew Costello and Jordan Morrissey. That's when it looked DC looked most dangerous.
Substitution on the DCU team, number 20, Shane Tracy, replacing number 13, Joseph Hagan.
Joseph Hagan has been taken off for DCU, has been replaced by Shane Tierney from Offaly. has been an off-the-ball incident while we were looking at the goalkeeper. And there's a UL player down. Tough for Hagan to be brought off this early. Maybe he has a tweak, maybe he has an injury. Also, at this time of the season, guys are playing for their counties and they're very busy. You just don't know what effect that has on people. His manager, actually, his county manager, Billy O'Loughlin, is in the crowd here. I just bumped into him on the way back up. Oisin Looney is down. Colin, how does a break in play like this affect things for players out there?
I think realistically, UL have been moving well, happy enough with how they're playing. It's point in at the moment. DCU started to get a little bit of a motion going with getting the ball forward, so I think it's probably better for UL just to calm things down and recycle again. It's obviously with the win DCU have, so I think DCU are keen to get the last few minutes moving forward and get a few more scores on the board.
Well, let's hope Oisin Looney is okay. The fact that he's been down this long is not particularly good. In the meantime, DCU have made another change. Mark Barry has gone off. Didn't quite catch who came on, but the UL bench and some of the big crowd that have come in tonight. A good walk-in crowd, a lot of locals. Looks like UL are warming up. Frank Flanagan, a relatively local lad from Portlaoise.
Looks as if maybe a shoulder or wrist for Oisin Looney there. Maybe it was a clash during the kick out.
Well, let's hope he's okay.
Yeah.
David Clifford had that very early chance after about 20 seconds. David O'Hanlon made a great save. Haven't seen too much of him since. Got a free all right, but as always, heavily policed by a fairly stellar backline for DCU. They've got a decent forward line as well, and even some backs who think they're forwards, including Terry. That looks like a decent enough ball. It's intercepted. They were looking to pick out the run of Shane O'Donnell, who won both the senior and under-21 county title last season with St. Eunan's. He was man of the match in both finals. He's a big game player.
Big game player is right.
Terry. Downs, good ball, Emmett McMahon. Sean Powder. Powder, who toured with Ireland to Australia, played in that international rules test in Perth. Ireland lost thanks to a poor start. Terry goes backwards. Here's Jack Coyne. It's a good take. Walsh. Clifford has dropped a bit deeper to try and get into the game. Dempsey. Dempsey still going. Still followed by Bill Carroll. Gray is directing the traffic. It's a good run. Oh, it's fumbled by Coyne. DCU steal it back. It's Shea Ryan. He's such a strong fullback. Just has a great read of the game. Always knows where to be.
Not one single DCU man in their half.
And it's a free in because there was a foul committed on Sean Powder and it was really needless.
Substitution on the University of Limerick team. Number 21, Frank Flanagan, replacing number 12, Oisin Looney.
So confirmation that Oisin Looney is gone thanks to that injury, which is a big loss for UL, but Flanagan's a decent player. You know him well.
Yeah, up and coming young player, really good attitude, very strong, so I think he'll really come into this game and make an impact. It's very interesting watching that there. DCU had 14 men back in their own half. Like, I understand obviously they had a big threat from UL in the forwards, but when they win the ball back, it's very hard for them to get out the field then in that stage. I'd like to see them more playing, maybe 3 or 4 men up the field at least to have a connection point, so let's see how they play that out.
Donald O'Sullivan knocks it over. UL back into a 2-point lead. Is it fair to say that it's a game that hasn't really opened up yet?
Yeah, definitely not. I think both sides are. UL are playing the better football overall. DCU have the win, so it's hard for scores for UL really. It's not too strong a win, but still there. But it's still a little bit scattered.
Jordan Morrissey, I was talking to him at the draw for this competition, which was made in IT Carlow just before Christmas. He was really looking forward to it. Here's Mark Curran. Running back to retrieve Shane O'Donnell. O'Donnell turns on the afterburners. Being forced out wide, but they are keeping possession. Tierney goes back to O'Carroll. Carroll couldn't find a route through. Mark Curran. Shea Ryan. That's a good pass. Finnerty. Shea Ryan. That's a really good pass into Red Oak Murphy, who can't take the mark. And then it's a poor pass. I think he thought he could take the mark in that position. He couldn't. And then I won't say he panicked, but he just didn't get the execution of the pass right to Porrick Hughes. And we're in additional time at the end of the first half. It's left behind, and it's taken by Bill Carroll, who moves it on. Shane Tierney. Tierney looking to reduce the gap, and Tierney does reduce the gap. He's good off the mark, Tierney. He's good off the tee as well, if you remember that incident.
The entrance into the Carlow Town Hurling Club. 191 CE 366 is to 4. 141 KK 2104 at Toyota, Silver Toyota. 11D 30268. 08
Emma McMahon is down.
001 and 08 DL 4149, a white Mercedes. You are blocking people in Carlow Hurling Club and they want to go home. Please remove them.
Oh my God.
Blatant abandonment of vehicles.
3 minutes of added time.
PJ will be out with the puck, lads. Swept up by Mark Curran. His foul committed on Jordan Morrissey. Free out. DCU won't panic too much. They were behind at half-time in the last game as well against Ulster University. Granted, that was at home at the DCU Sports Campus. Shane O'Donnell. Jordan Morrissey. Carl Lynch Bissett. Red Oak Murphy. Now the mark can be taken. It's outside the 20-metre line. Shane Tierney will pop this one over. He's made an impact, scored the last point for DCU, and he'll pop this one over as well. It's a good score. Still getting used to writing M on the score sheet as opposed to F or just a tick for a score from play.
What do you think of it? Are you a fan of the mark? Are you in favour of keeping it going, or?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. What about you? People should actually care about your opinion, though. As someone who has played in a professional sport that used the mark.
I suppose I've played the mark in different sports before, but I like it as well. I think it adds a little bit of different level to it, and even near the end of the game, giving an opportunity for long volley and a bit of excitement. But I don't know if we're using it the way it was meant to be used, I suppose.
I think the short marks are what people don't like. David Clifford, he could do anything. Followed by Shea Ryan, who's done his job well tonight of taking on Clifford. Clifford from a tight angle. It doesn't matter how good a job you do, he's always going to score.
He was marked really well there. You know, Shea Ryan's been doing well in them, but it's just so accurate. You know, his scoring range is so wide. It's very hard to know what he's going to do. He can go on his right there as well, rather than his left. So.
And as you say, there was nothing else the defenders could probably do there.
No, like you can't commit yourself too much when you're playing in Clifford. You can just turn around and go by you. So if we get careful with goal opportunities, if you keep him to 3 or 4 points in the game, 3 points in the game, I think that's a good job done, really.
Well, they've kept him to 2 so far, one of them from play, one of them from a free. DCU 1 point down against UL in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. If those are your cars, come and collect them. It's half-time, you have the time now. If not, don't worry about it, just enjoy the rest of the match. We'll be back with some of the highlights of the first half very soon, but for now, it is UL 7 points, DCU 6 points.
268 and 08 MN 6001 and 08 DL DCL 4149, a white mark. Will you please remove them and let the people out? Can I ask the subs not to kick around in the goal area, please? Please don't kick around in the goal area.
Welcome back to Netwatch Cullen Park. It's half-time in the Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. DCU 1 point down against UL. There was a strong breeze when we got here and throughout a lot of the first half, but that breeze has died down. So as it stands, no one really has the wind in the second half. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the game so far. Colin Begley, twice a winner of this competition with DCU. He was also part of the Rising Stars team in 2017. Colin, this was within the first 20 seconds and we thought we were going to get a Clifford special, but it was O'Hanlon who made a great save.
Yeah, and DCU reacted pretty well there with a good free from long distance, again using the wind quite well. they've missed a few free opportunities so far, but the ones they've had, they've taken quite well.
DCU will be against the breeze in the second half. They're the kind of team that won't matter too much to. Finnerty is a man they need to get the ball to. This man doing damage though, David Clifford, that his first of the night. What a free, he's got a beautiful strike.
Beautiful strike, and he was actually kind of quiet for a while being, but of course he's going to be man-marked for most of the night, so he scored the last score of the half, which is great. Excellent strength here, just to push the man off, get an extra yard, and took the score really well. So they were on top at this stage, UL, really sharp hands. And again, you can see, even though with DCU having such a defensive mindset there with 14 men, 13 men back, UL were able to find scores. The last 10 minutes or so though, DCU came into it, carried the ball up the wing quite well, then worked into the side, and some small passes, and then some very strong runs from Jordan Morrissey and from Matthew Costello. That's when they look really dangerous.
That was a great save, wasn't it?
It's a great save. Probably Mark would be happy with that finish himself, I think, but it was a great save overall. Very sharp hands, really quick hands from UL. They're just working well, moving off at speed. And again, another long range free, which is well taken.
Substitution on the DCU team, number 20, Shane.
And here's another free, this
again,
time from Donald O'Sullivan.
With all the men back, DCU probably don't need to be giving away those short frees. You know, a lot of men are on the ball. Get a good turnover. Another good score. It's the second for the half since coming on, so really well done. He's made an impact since he came in.
This is a Clifford special.
Yeah, again, you've got the defender doing really well. You have another man coming in to double up on them. And sometimes that can be a bad thing because you can't let go of the real tight mark. But David Clifford with that foot, you know, he's just lethal. And I think to have him more involved in the game, they brought him out the field a bit further out to get involved, get on a few passes. He's been man-marked. I think Redo Murphy's been man-marked as well, a small bit out the field, but he got on a little bit more of a ball than in the last 10 minutes of the half. I think he'll play a big part in the second half if he can get on more ball. He finds a few of those pop passes into the full forward line for DCU. So, look, both sides are going well. I think UL will be happier at the moment. They're sharper on the ball. DCU though have brought it back to maybe 1 point. The wind's died down a small bit, so there's not really much of an advantage on that side. I think UL have played the better football as it stands, but I would like to see DCU not playing as defensive. I know they probably won't change that, but they're bringing 14 men back. They've got quality defenders in there. Bring 1 or 2 spare, maybe even 3 at the most, and then leave for 3 or 4 players up in the forward line. Get some passes in there and move it quick. Allow your runners like Jordan Morrissey and Matthew Costello to come onto the ball rather than carrying it.
Normally when a team is in this kind of position in a game this big and they haven't really been there that many times in their history, you'd say, how much is it about holding your nerve? But that probably isn't a thing for UL, considering the talent that they have in that team and the experience that they have in that team. Yeah,
it's a little different in Sigerson. You kind of look at the players they have who've played in big games before and have been in situations like this like in their county games. I will say DCU have obviously played really quite tight games, have come from behind as well, have come by a point in the last 2 rounds. So that's in their minds that they've had really tight games and have come out on top. But realistically, both teams and many of the players here have been in an experienced situation where they've, you know, this is a game that could swing both ways. They've played in those games before. They're well capable, well experienced. So I think I wouldn't see anyone shying back from it. I think they're well able to manage themselves. So I just think DC need to get more hands on the ball and get the ball moving faster into the forward line. But we'll see how that moves in the second half.
David Clifford, do you expect him to come deeper to get the ball?
I think
very often in the first half, he just wasn't part of it for long periods.
Yeah, depends. I see. I think he wants to come out to try and drag a man a bit and maybe get himself a bit of space, get on the ball. But you want him in there. Like you see him here, if he gets the ball, even in a wide space and comes back in onto his left, he can go right there if he wants either. It's an excellent score. And again, good defending. So I think he'll come out every once in a while if he's not getting enough ball inside, just try and change it up. But realistically, what they want to try and do, I think he will, is bring the ball down one side, switch it back into the middle very quickly, and then get over to the opposite corner with a 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 with David Clifford and other forwards who are playing really well. So, like I said before, Clifford is such an excellent player. He can draw 2-3 men towards him very easily, which might open up a space for one or the UL forwards.
Maurice Deegan hasn't had too many big calls to make so far, has done a good job so far. Not easy to be a referee.
Not easy. It's been a fair game. Like, I haven't really seen any dirty tackles go in. Like I said, when it's a defensive system from both sides for a bit. UL are pressing very, very hard, probably a harder tackle, which is great to see. And they're pressing around the 45-50 mark, so they're pressing quite high up, which doesn't allow a run to happen easily. So I'd like to see more of that in the second half.
Great conditions. That breeze has picked up again. It's blowing into the Dublin Road end. That's the O'Hanrahan's end. On our right is the Sugar Factory end. Good crowd in for this one. UL, by the way, will have that breeze in the second half. Do we make too much of the breeze in games where we're analysing them, or is that an actual factor in this one?
No, I think with the breeze that's in at the moment, it's not that strong, you know. I think you actually can, if it was a really strong breeze, you have to take part of it, but at the moment it's a small breeze. For long-range shooters, for quality players like this, they can use it, but...
Well, we will have highlights and reaction to this game on the Electric Ireland social media channel, so keep an eye out on those after the match. I think we've got some more highlights to come in this match, don't we? It'll open up a bit in the second half as UL emerge from the famous Carlow Tunnel. The players coming out of the tunnel. We're ready for the second half. Almost DCU will follow them. It's like one of the South American stadiums or something when you go into that tunnel, isn't it?
It is, it's a long one too.
Yeah. It's actually a fantastic...
Nice energy actually going down it when you're in a line of players, and we've had a few games here, a few tough battles before, lining against Carlow, and it's a bit of energy building up in there, you know, tight space, voices shouting, so...
I've never got to play here, but I did walk through the tunnel for an Instagram post.
Oh.
Very much the same thing, Colin. Yeah, same thing.
Actually, we played our replay at the Ireland Minor final against Dublin, and this was when we played. We drew obviously in the first in Croke Park, and there was supposed I think 20-something thousand at even more over capacity. So that was one of the most electric environments I've played in before. So it's good memories here.
David Clifford, ready to go. As I heard someone say over the last couple of days, when other players do things on the pitch that are standout moments, they're considered special. When he does them, they're just considered ordinary. You just look and you say, well, that's David Clifford, we expect that.
Yeah, and there's a few players coming out like that at the moment, but he's one of those superstar players which has the ability to change a game instantly, you know. And he handles it so well. Like, I've met him, he's a great guy, like very level-headed, you know, and a lot of pressure on a young shoulders, captain for a young age, but handles it so well, and you know, he won't play a great game every time, but he seems to just keep on bringing out some amazing scores and amazing games, so he's a great lad.
Robert Finnerty, another player who makes the extraordinary look ordinary. He's being picked up by Jack Coyne. Close enough to him, his fellow Galway man, Conor Flaherty. And here we go, the Electric Ireland Higher Education GA Sigerson Cup semi-final. Second half, remember, it has to end tonight.
Could we get penalties? Who knows?
Are you hoping for penalties, or do you think we'll get penalties?
No to both.
Red Oak Murphy, not playing for Sligo this season, but he's making a big impact for DCU. Also looking to make an impact is Shane O'Donnell, who has a shot, and it goes over. Well, we did say he was a big game player. He was the player of the match in the second year competition when these two met in the final. He was the player of the match in the final. And as we mentioned in the first half, the player of the match in the under-21 and senior finals in Donegal last season. That second year competition, by the way, it was basically run so players who hadn't played freshers football last year got the chance to play some kind of colleges football. Not all of them are like Shane O'Donnell. Not all of them got into the top level teams of their college. So that's why it was run. It was a one-off competition to bridge the gap.
Yeah, to give chances to players who haven't been playing.
Well, colleges football and hurling is so important, and managers really do put a stock in it. Like John Kiley would tell you, the Limerick hurling manager, that he learned an awful lot about players from watching them in the Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup.
Yeah, I think it's great for players, even for the development. They love playing it, they enjoy it. You know, it's a chance for them to play against really top quality players around as well. So I think it's for development of players themselves, it's fantastic. And if managers can see that, all the better.
I know there's a lot of talk about the schedule and all that, but no matter when it's on, I think this is a competition that is here with us, and most players will tell you they're glad of that. Most fans will tell you they're glad of it as well. We're glad to be able to bring you these games. Many years ago, you used to hear about these games, but not necessarily see them because they were on Monday or Tuesday afternoons and college grounds, and the general fan didn't get to them. Here's Jordan Morrissey trying to shake off the attentions of Donal O'Sullivan. Robert Finnegan. Running off the shoulder was Seamus Byrne. O'Donnell again, good pass. Finnegan, he's got sight of goal. He releases the shot, but hasn't caught it well. A 5th wide for DCU from a shooting position.
Much better movement of the hands though there, to be fair, than carrying it up, popping inside, and they're kind of receiving it on the run. So should have been a score. I thought you had that, but that being said, it's a positive to see it moving that way. The kickouts will play a big part in this. Obviously now it's a small bit of win, but UL were winning most of the kickouts in the first half from what I could see, even the breaking ball. So we just see how DCU handle that. They play a huge part in the game. You know, get yourself a chance to attack the defence with little numbers back there. So wouldn't be Sigerson if that didn't happen. So
Sideline told to calm down a little bit. Flaherty.
Again, another excellent kick out won by UL.
Had to be brave in taking that as well.
Emmett McMahon, is it? I think that's him down again.
That's him.
Yeah, I think he had a similar incident in the first half as well. So let's get a bit of punishment out there. Well able to take it.
From the Clare fan point of view, it's so good to see the likes of McMahon and Looney coming through, because sometimes when a team like Clare get up to Division 2 like they have, it's done with the same bunch of players and they're not replaced, but it's good to see a bit of new life in that Clare panel.
Yeah. Clare are going really well. They've got different manager in place there, been system in place for a number of years, and they're playing some nice brand of football. So to have those young guys there playing Division 2 will be really positive for them in the long run.
It's good to see Tubridy's still there as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
At the age of 75, still playing football for Clare. He's not that old, that was the joke on him, that was an exaggeration.
I can't talk now, I'm probably the same thing.
It just feels like there was never a time when he wasn't playing for Clare.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was part of the 92 team that won Munster.
And playing strongly as well.
Bill Carroll.
Influential player.
Red Oak Murphy. Shea Ryan. Shea Ryan up against Clifford. Hung it up in the air and invited the defender onto it, and he took the invite. Downs was the one who got his hands on that ball. Now it's Paul Maher from Adair in County Limerick. Jack Coyne. Clifford. Emmett McMahon. He's recovered from the knock he got a couple of seconds ago. Paul Maher. Maher tries to pick out a pass and does. It's fumbled and then regathered. O'Sullivan spills it into the path of his teammate. And that's a good point. A hard 1 point. Popped over by Towie. His second of the game.
Again, a concern here for me would be that if you look at tackle, I'm not sure whether it was a free or not, but he played it out well, strong on the ground.
Terry, the Mayo man. Just in case you're wondering, in case you joined us late, Owen McLaughlin of Westport not starting tonight. We saw him before the game in the moon boot. Damaged his ankle at the weekend playing for Mayo against Monaghan. I was at that game in Clones. It was a really cracking encounter. Mayo winning it in the end. Slips through the hands of Jordan Morrissey. Soccered on by Costello. Robert Finnerty. Short. Got caught in the breeze. That breeze maybe is a bit stiffer than we think it is.
Another missed opportunity from Robert. He's a good scorer, so he'll be disappointed with that himself, I'm sure. And now you on the counter-attack again.
Maurice Shanley from Clonakilty in County Cork. Dan Gray. Gray trying to shake off Towie. Looking for his third point. It's Towie. That's a monster score. The breeze is at his back and so is the momentum.
It's an excellent score. Again, move fast through hands, but a few kick passes to get over the line of the DC defence. DCU are still leaving one man, like one-on-one inside the full forward line, so the defensive press is maybe a little bit too high for the stop those balls going inside first, the long ball first time.
Corcoran. He won't forgive me for bringing it up, but Corcoran had that horrendous moment last week when he basically handed the ball to Dara Canavan, who scored the goal, and made it a tighter finish than it needed to be. The last person you'd want to give a free ball to in front of goal is Dara Canavan. Speaking of frees, UL have got the decision.
Yeah, UL are moving very well at the moment now, and they're also getting very physical too, so a purple patch here, and DCU need to control the game a small bit more. Only 2 points down.
Paul Maher getting away from Tierney. Paul Maher, who's part of the Limerick Club Team of the Year in 2020, played at the weekend in Limerick's win over Antrim. That was a huge win in Division 3. Foul committed by Maher. I shouldn't have talked him up. I jinxed him. Shea Ryan. It's an unusual one, and it is intercepted. Coyne slips through the hands of Maher, tries to get it on the second attempt. Finnerty retrieves the ball well for DCU. Here's Matthew Costello.
Again, forehand pass again, forcing the ball into congested area.
And it's a free out for UL. Daniel Walsh went to ground.
UL seem a bit better about taking balls away from congested areas, like, you know, if there's a compact situation where defenders are tackling or you've won the ball back, they switch the ball out there very quickly. DCU trying to play ball around numbers, and it's just turning over too many balls, unforced turnovers.
Seamus O'Byrne from County Donegal will go into the book.
Yellow card.
And this is how he picked up that yellow card. Donald O'Sullivan. Sullivan moving so well. That work he's done on his movement with Fionn Fitzgerald has paid dividends. And that's a great point. Fionn Fitzgerald, the man we talked about there, the man who's worked with him, kicked one of the best points I've ever seen for Kerry against Cork in a Munster final.
That's an excellent score.
That's right up there.
Took on 2 men, carrying the ball at speed, puts it over from 35 out. He's playing very well at the moment, you know, working out a lot of working on defence as well, coming out of the ball, trying to put pressure on defenders, but that's an excellent score.
NUIG won the other semi-final today, by the way. Corcoran. Pádraig Hughes. It's a shot from a crowd from Shane Tierney.
Good shot.
Who lobs it over.
Good shot under pressure. Tough situation to get out of. Again, DCU carrying the ball into numbers. They got away with that time, but with an excellent score. But UL seem to be set up very well in defence there at the moment.
Tierney's played well since coming in.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
That Donald O'Sullivan score a minute ago, that one just before the one from Tierney, that was a thing of beauty. The run, the strike. Matthew Costello. You can see Jack Bryant has come in for DCU, the under-20 player of the season last year, an All-Ireland winner with Offaly, scored a goal in the final. Shane O'Donnell, Matthew Costello. Tierney going again. This time he turns creator, and that looks like it's going to go over, and it does. That was a mighty point.
I've heard a lot of calls from the sideline saying, get out of there, guys, get out of there, guys. Probably looking at a bad angle for a shot, but it's an excellent score nonetheless. Round off the shoulder, simple score, but tough angle. Little shake of the hands, all good.
Harold O'Donovan and Shane Tierney. Flaherty kicks it straight away. It's most un-Flaherty-like. Mark Curran started the attack. Here's Hughes. Kicks it over. DCU are beginning to find their rhythm. They do this in the second half of games.
3 scores in a row. Some good defensive work from them as well, blocking the UL defenders coming out. So, and tough scores. They weren't easy ones, but well taken. 2 men down now for UL as well. So could be a little bit of a thing to slow down the pace of the game, try and take a little break. 2 men down for UL. Maybe a tactic of sorts.
Hughes already playing inter-county football with Wexford. That counts for an awful lot at this level. They were beaten by Cavan last weekend. I don't think that was too much of a surprise, but they played well enough in the game.
Yeah, they're making strides, Wexford, in fairness. I think they're doing a lot of work to try and develop themselves. So
well, we're getting to an exciting part of the game. The Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. 10 points apiece. It has to end tonight. It could be a long night. If you're enjoying the game and think your friends might enjoy it too, why not start sharing the links?
I think we'll see as well, like in those Sigerson games, the subs will play a big part. Already a few have made an impact already, but come to the last maybe 5-10 minutes of the game, bringing players on who have energy and who have a bit of drive can really make a change. So interesting to see how that's handled by both sides. UL keeping it very wide here in the kickouts.
Flaherty. And there's a foul off the ball, and that gives UL a break that they need because they couldn't get out of their own half in the last couple of minutes. And as you said, Colm, DCU had got the momentum and 3 points in a row.
It was a silly free to give away, really. I think he was looking for it, but look, adrenaline was up.
O'Sullivan on the move again. Clifford. Always looks like he has more time than anyone else. Dempsey. What a wonderful score from Conal Dempsey of Knockmore, County Mayo.
That's a brilliant reply back from UL. They needed that, you know, just to settle things a small bit. And again, careful kick out from a free, quick ball in. Clifford drawed probably 4 or 5 guys into him. Pops it off to an excellent score from long range. So
used to scoring in big games, Dempsey. Scored a point in last season's county final in Mayo. Played under 20 for Mayo last season. In some ways, it's great to be a young player in Mayo. In other ways, it's bad because there's so much competition. That's a beautiful pickup. Donal O'Sullivan. It's loose from UL. They give it away. Matthew Costello takes it. Shay Ryan. Hughes. Hughes gets it back. Him and Terry playing their own game there. Hughes through the gap. Jack Bryant. Look for the pass inside. Running off him was Seamus Byrne. Couldn't find the pass. UL get the free, and you can tell how much that means to them.
yeah, it's a turning point there, you know. A score for DCU will have kind of brought it back into the game a small bit more, but UL are lifting energy a small bit. DCU have had their purple patch now, and they need to make sure they don't lose the run of themselves and start giving away simple turnovers.
Daniel Walsh. Sean Powder. Dempsey. Dempsey's tripped. Free for UL.
Substitution on the University of Limerick team, number 18, Paul Walsh, replaced number 11, Emmett McMahon.
Paul Walsh, the man who went to Brazil to meet Ronaldinho, is in.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I should probably say he's a decent footballer as well, by the way. That's not why he's being brought in. He's not Jake Paul. He's here for his sporting merit.
Yeah. And the head of hair, glorious.
I'm so jealous.
Glorious.
I'm just so jealous of that head of hair. Especially on a cold night like tonight. He's replacing Emmett McMahon, by the way. Paul Walsh, who had a stellar minor career, won an Electric Ireland minor title or two with Kerry, was one of the standout players. Scored 2 goals in the first match of this competition this year against IT Sligo.
Giving away, poor free there.
Speaking of Sligo, Red Oak Murphy. Poor cues. Jordan Morrissey. Morrissey. It's over.
Great score.
Great score by Jordan Morrissey.
A lot of leadership there shown by Jordan. Good run, carrying the ball through contest and stuck on himself to the ball with the bar. Not an easy angle. He's an excellent, really strong carrier of the ball, Jordan Morrissey. Very impressed with him over the last number of years.
Well, there's a lot of Éire Óg people here tonight. Éire Óg, of course, his club here in Carlow. And they were delighted with that point. He's played well all night.
Yeah.
But now he's got to score as well. Here's Paul Walsh. Clifford. Didn't catch it right. Costello. Red Oak Murphy. They're going through the lines. Jordan Morrissey on the move again. Morrissey, who's doing a Masters, takes the hit, still has the football. Sean Powder, he doesn't go soft either, so Morrissey must be...
6v6.
Yeah, Morrissey must be fairly hardy if he's able to take a tackle like that. Costello.
Powder's come off the worst of it, I think.
And DCU run out of pitch. It must be so frustrating when you move it through the lines and then it comes to nothing.
Yeah, and that's the... I think when players carry into kind of difficult areas or bad areas, you know, when it's clustered up, that's the kind of real bad thing about it when you front space outside. So, big hit there from Jordan and Sean. NUIG by 3 in the other game, by the way. Will it be an East Coast, West Coast battle in the final, or will it be all West Coast if UL get through? I think this moment in the game now when like both teams have had a little bit of purple patch and the energy's high and now it's calming down again, it's probably one of the more important ones. You know, can a team just take control of the game, not rush up to get a score straight away, work on, you know, take a few across the field if needs be. It's, you know, it's very hectic at the moment, very erratic. Lads are mad to get a score, which is fair enough, but for some reason I think it's a team who kind of calms himself and takes control of the best. Come out on top.
Paul Maher wants to continue and will. Red Oak Murphy. It's an arrow ball inside. It's a good ball inside. Hughes laid it off. DCU staying patient. Shane Tierney with the crossfielder. Moved on by Seamus Byrne. Shane O'Donnell. Bill Carroll. Back to O'Donnell. Or Byrne, I beg your pardon. Into the hands of Jack Bryant. Cutting back is Seamus Byrne. It's a bit of a loose one, Paul Walsh. Oh. Well, it was an untidy tackle, to say the least.
Yeah, I think it'll be yellow. I don't think he'll go for the red. I know it's the leading with the leg, but reckless more than... Deegan's a pretty fair ref. Yeah, yellow. I think it's probably the right call, to be fair. Energy is high and adrenaline just in the sub and made a reckless lunge of the ball, so a fair card.
DCU look to go in front with the free is Shane Tierney. Played very well so far, Shane Tierney. No good. I won't say they're keeping UL in it with some of their bad shooting, but they haven't been as good as they normally are in front of goal, DCU.
No, there's definitely 3 or 4 that were probably scores that should have been taken. That free, a few more by Robert Finnerty early on, so.
Looks like it's going to be a yellow card for Bill Carroll.
Yeah. Just it's sloppy, that's all it was.
Substitution on the UL team.
Could be a night of extra time.
19, James
The
McCarthy,
other semi-final
replaced
today
number
went to
3,
extra time, NUIG winning after extra time. In the Fresher A football, it's also an extra time between DCU and MTU Cork. Flaherty, who loves to come out the field, like all goalkeepers now, I guess. O'Donovan falls into the path of Donald O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan somehow shakes off the defender, gets forward, gets the free in.
He's played really well tonight. He's very strong on the ball, very rarely loses it, and has taken a few scores. So he's the kind of player now that could win it for him, I think, in the end of the game. Get the ball in his hands.
It is Clifford. With the breeze at his back, he floats that one over. Great score from Clifford.
We expected him to score, but it was still probably, what, 5 metres off the sideline. 25 out.
Substitution on the OL team, number 11, Dan Gray, replaced number 11. Washington Emmett McMahon replaced number 14, Dan Gray.
Emmett McMahon is back in, replacing Dan Gray. It was risky to go low and through the middle, but it did work out. It was collected by Shane O'Donnell. Red Oak Murphy wants to get it back under control. In hot pursuit is Conal Dempsey. Red Oak spills it, and Dempsey takes it and moves it on to Emmett McMahon, who's back in the game. Paul Walsh. Daniel Walsh. Good ball out in front. Can Terry run onto it? Terry trying to get away from Costello. That's not easy to do. Gets wrapped up by Kern. Does get the pass away. It is Clifford. Walsh is inside. He's screaming for Clifford. Off the woodwork. The point was on. The goal was on. In the end, they get nothing.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the goal. He had a very Clifford-esque goal to it. Inside on the left.
Jordan Morrissey foul on the way out by Garrod O'Donovan of Newshastown in Cork, and it's a free.
I don't know if it was as much of a bad tackle as he thinks, in my mind. Maybe that's the defender in me.
Well, let's have a look at that Clifford chance.
Yeah.
I think Walsh was covered.
Yeah.
That's probably why he didn't go to him.
And the goalie came out well and tightened the angle.
Garrod O'Donovan picks up the yellow card. Newshastown, a very strong dual club. Byrne thought about the shot, then took it on a few more meters. Jordan Morrissey wanted it, didn't get it, taking it away is Shane Tierney. Good ball, Porrick Hughes. Bill Carroll kicks it wide. Well, you wonder at the end of the game how much DCU will regret these chances that they're missing.
Yeah. And they're getting the ball quite well from the defence up to around the 45, but as they go closer to that shooting position, UL are kind of congesting it up quite well, very well, and making it hard to get out. But DCU are carrying into contest too easily. You need to bring it in and get out to the wings or get out to a scoring position much faster than that. So. Seamus Burns down. Bit of cramp, I'd say.
Sean Powder, Welsh beside him. New man in is James McCarthy. Well, not new, but has been on the ball too much. Emmett McMahon. McMahon looking to put his team 2 points in front, and he hasn't done it. Donald O'Sullivan down.
Substitution of the DCU team, number 13, James Holbrook, replaced number 18, Seamus Byrne.
Seamus Byrne is going off. He looks like he's picked up a knock or an injury or a strain of some sort. Declan Bruder, the manager, wants to create history, wants to win an Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup with this team. Mark Curran.
You can't see it on the screen, but Shane Tierney's doing a lot of running there, trying to get on the ball, making loads of runs, looking for the kick pass in, but these seem to be a little bit reluctant to put the ball up to him. So
they have plenty of time because there's just over 2 minutes left, but there'll be a lot of injury time as well.
Yeah.
Matthew Costello tries to get there, doesn't.
Again, DCU carrying it over the sideline where numbers are and being congestion. It seems a little bit scattered from their minds now. Very good to carry the ball through hands, but not working for them.
Sean Powder moved it off to Flanagan. Powder is fouled. That'll do nicely for UL. Paddy Christie, the manager of DCU, standing right behind, looks a little bit nervy at this stage. Can't see him in that shot. In the middle you can see Sean Fox, who actually guided DIT to a Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup title in around, I think, 2013, 2014, might have been before that. Darren O'Sullivan and Aidan O'Shea, part of that team. He's also part of Kilmacud Crokes and has coached many of the players who will feature in this weekend's All-Ireland Club final. Game on again. Ball released by Sean Powder. It's a good ball, taking it as David Clifford, trying to get away from Shea Ryan. Clifford gets a bit of time. Gets the pass away to O'Donovan. Here's Paul Walsh. They're moving it nicely. Emmett McMahon had a runner in Conall Dempsey who had a bit more time and space, but he didn't need him. When you score, it's the right decision. UL by 2 in the last minute.
Yeah, and he had extra numbers to left of him too. Great score, obviously, but this shows the run from UL at the moment is very, very strong, and they're picking the right players, running at the right time, opening up gaps in DCU's defence. Next score is very, very important now.
DCU are running out of time. I don't know if Emmett McMahon has just kicked the point that has sealed it, but certainly it's looking good for UL. But they know themselves there's an awful lot of work to do, and this is a very talented DCU team, and they can play their way out of trouble. Here's Mark Curran. Imagine what Dempsey would have said to him if McMahon didn't score. That's risky, and it's a risk that doesn't pay off. Here's Paul Walsh. Clifford is free. In behind, you can't see it, is Towie. They didn't go long, they didn't need to. Walsh was fouled, and that'll lead into the clock. That'll do for UL.
There will be at least 4 minutes of added time.
4 minutes of added time.
4 minutes of added time.
4 minutes of added time. That was a silly foul by Mark Curran. But if those cars that we heard about in the first half are still there, no one's moving to get them now. This is too tight, too enthralling. You'd nearly pay the fine. It would be worth the money. Donald O'Sullivan turned over.
Costa. Moving a bit of pace now from DCU. Getting over this side. Good switch inside.
They have the time. Can they take the opportunities? Tierney. They recycle the ball and keep this attack going. Keep it alive. Finnerty shapes, shoots. It's actually more of a pass, and it doesn't work out. Well, I'm not sure if he was shooting or if he was kind of going for a clever attempt there, but either way, they've given away the ball. Clifford most unusually didn't get a clean contact on it, but because it's David Clifford, he got away with it.
Very clever.
And wins the free.
Yeah. Strong run, cuts aside the defender. Very hard for the defender to do anything else there, but gets a little contact down to the ground and eats into the clock.
Win that moment now, Paul! It's 3 minutes, Paul Walsh! Win that fucking moment!
Comes across, yeah.
You can hear the encouragement coming from the UL sideline. It's 3 minutes, win that ball. Here's Clifford to put them 3 in front.
I think he'll hold on to it, that's it.
That's a good pass. Back to Clifford. Clifford. That is special.
There you go.
It's typical of David Clifford. Just because it's no surprise to see him do something like that, it doesn't make it any less impressive. Let's watch it again.
Give himself a yard. Takes it again. His shooting range is immense, you know.
We're going to have to invent new words to describe what David Clifford can do. DCU not done yet. It's floated in.
Too many
And
UL
win.
have given back. Too many unforced errors from DCU realistically. You know, forcing things into bad pockets of space. So
Dempsey gives it away. Walsh was trying to win it. Walsh is surely being tugged back there. That has to be a free in. It is, and that could be the moment that seals it for UL.
it's a great ball in too. You know, puts the defender under pressure straight away. Long ball over the top with wind.
Daniel O'Sullivan. Surely this would put it beyond DCU if it was to go over. I'm hearing shouts of wide ball. Well,
No.
that's a bad miss. I thought they were kind of hopeful shouts from DCU players, but no, they're not. It was wide.
One last chance. You need a long kick out. Can't be short.
Sean MacDonald from Mallow.
23.
Mallow. DCU have to work it. They're running out of time. They need a goal.
Substitution of the UL team, number 26, Sean McDonald.
Daniel Corkin bringing it out of defence. Shane O'Donnell trying to use his pace.
Sure, the last play of the game here now.
DCU, they're just going to launch it.
No.
And it, the defender missed it. That was Sean Powder, but luckily for him, he was being backed up by Garrod O'Donovan. And UL are through to the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup final. And you can see what it means to them.
Yeah, deserve a team too. Excellent performance. Really well done. Collected on the ball, and it's great to see. You know, deserve a team.
Well, DCU will look at the second half and say, you know what, we had too many wides and we're too sloppy with the ball inside the UL 45 at times.
Yeah, definitely some shot sections were probably poor enough, or even just bad shots in the end. And then carrying just the bad areas, like carrying the congested areas where they had more numbers and more defenders, and some sloppy hand passes. So look, in the end of it, I think UL deserved winners. Sharper on the ball, took some great scores as well to win it in the end. So well done to them.
We hope to get some reaction in a couple of minutes. UL, for them, they've never won this competition. Look at David Clifford. I mean, the fans just love this guy.
This just shows like just a few players have gone through the years that are superstars of the game, and he's one of them. You know, Dermot Connolly as well. I suppose you can talk about him, the style and flair he has. But like I said before, he handles it so well. He's a really great role model for the kids, and gives as much time to anyone who comes up to him. So, well done to him. It'll be exciting final. Really will be.
It will be an exciting final between UL and NUIG. We'll talk about the final in just a few minutes. But what about tonight's game? Who stood up for UL, aside from David Clifford, who did the spectacular and will feature heavily in the highlights reel, and why not?
Well, Donald O'Sullivan was very, very good, I thought. Even, like, you know, the scores he took were fantastic, very strong on the ball. Sean Powder had some excellent runs at the field, commanded the centre-back position, and was very, very good communication. You can even hear it on the ground too. And then as well, Conal Dempsey actually had some great runs to the middle and kind of bossed the midfield for a while. So there's loads of players you can mention there, but overall, a great team performance.
Well, it's a bit of a surprise, perhaps. UL beat DCU 14 points to 11 in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. They'll play NUIG in the decider. And Colin Begley will talk you through some of the moments of the game.
Some great hand pass movement here, and a nice throw off the left. DCU are moving very well at this stage here. Again, some great hand passing from the ground too, just get it a little bit light in defending, but nice score straight in for the goal. Great on ball in. UL's passing was brilliant for the night. Long range score off the right. It's putting UL in front. Another strong run then from Donald Sullivan. An extra score on the right. Great game tonight for Donald Sullivan. Brilliant. And DCU started coming up the ball. Tiernan here with an excellent score. He was really good. Tierney was brilliant throughout. Came on and made some massive influence. Again in the ball, strong, driving towards the defender. Popped off around the shoulder and straight over the bar. Tight game at this stage, probably both teams drawing. And pass in, another tight angle. A great score from Park Hughes. UL then with some long range shot, and again I mentioned his name before, but Conor Dempsey came up from deep midfield over the bar with his right. Excellent score from long range. And a player for DCU played brilliant tonight, Jordan Morrissey. Excellent player on his right, tight angle. Drove really hard defenders. Reckless tackle there. And again, the man himself, David Clifford, from tight angle on the sideline, left foot. Just cannot miss that man. Driving forward here with the ball, taking the defenders on. Thought he would go for a goal, but went for the hand pass with the ball off the post. Was lucky enough for DCU. And again, Manu came on himself, back on. Emmett McCann came on, got some good ball in midfield, and come up with a left foot over the bar. Great score. And then to seal it, David Clifford, left foot. An exceptional player. Great performance from UL, a great performance for DCU too, to be fair. Hard luck to them, but UL were deserved winners tonight. And there'll be a force in the final.
Egley, thank you very much. UL go through to the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup final with a fantastic victory here against DCU. The champions, they've been great champions, but their journey for now is over, but they will be back next year. The final will of course be live on TG Cahir. It'll be between NUIG and UL, an all West Coast battle. Lots of talent involved from all around the country though, not just the counties in which the colleges are based. You can watch this game back in full, of course, on the Electric Ireland YouTube channel, and the highlights will be available through all the social media channels, including Electric Ireland's. Thank you for watching tonight. We'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.